All right, so this is an exciting day. What I'm doing today is I am preparing a top bar beehive for bees. So I am just getting 10 frames here ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 10 frames. And what I did is I use the frames with the best guides on them, just so that we start to get the comb established properly. Obviously, you can make sure that all your pieces have that on there. All mine don't. They all have these type of guides, which are good. It's better to have some type of guide that they can follow to make sure the comb goes straight. Some of these, though, I bought the secondhand, so some of these actually have really nice guides. So anything that can help the bees start their comb right is excellent, because crooked comb can be a problem for sure. So what I'm doing is I counted out 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then I'm going to put the divider in so that they only have a small space to start with. That's the recommended way to start. I'll, of course, give them more space after they're in. I'll show you the installing of the bees, but right now I just wanted to show you the prep work. So I'm doing that. I'm going to fill, the rest of the pieces are down there. I'm going to put them all in, and I'm going to level it, because this probably isn't perfectly level at this point. It was. So it's really important that the hive be level side to side. Once again, that'll ensure that the bees build their comb straight, because even though there are guides, gravity is going to be their true guide. So if your hive isn't level, it will go crooked. Front to back isn't as important. In fact, there should be a slight grade just so that the water runs off. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to level this, and unfortunately I need to use my phone to do it because that's the only level I have. So I won't show you that part, but that's simply strictly making sure it's level. And then I'm going to come back and do the bee installation and show you guys. So that's exciting. And then we will follow the bees testing and accepting the queen and building their comb. So it's going to be right from an empty, not even level top bar beehive to hopefully a thriving hive. So you'll be able to follow along with that. And we're always excited to have bees. Thanks for joining, and we'll move on to the next part. All right, so the second part of our little series here, the hive is level. I have a little feeder inside, and we are getting ready to install the package of bees, which is sitting right here. The weather is rather good. It's a little windy, but we're actually we picked this spot. We are in a sheltered location that we cleared out specifically for the beehives. So it is actually relatively always less windy here. So it's actually really good. This is actually a beautiful little spot. So happy to provide it to the bees. I love watching the bees. Anyway, this is the package of bees, how it comes. I'm always fascinated by watching bees do what they do. But this is how the package comes. So it's a package of bees with a queen. So there's no comb or anything. So they have a lot of work ahead of them. The queen is attached to this little piece of metal. So when we open it up, we're going to take the queen out of here. There's going to be a little stopper on her cage. We're going to remove that, put a candy cork in there, and then the bees are going to eat through that candy cork and release the queen. And it's that whole process that allows the bees to get acclimated to their new queen, and provide them a little bit of food, the sugar from the stopper. And yeah, so it's actually a really cool setup how it works. So here are the bees just waiting for their home. And next up is getting them out of that place. And we now have the equipment to do it. Hi, helper.
Hi.
And I am going to do this in a do as I say, not as I do. So we are not wearing gloves or any type of safety equipment. We've done this before. The bees were very mellow. I got to stop using that word. I use it in every video. The bees were calm. So we're going to take that as an invite to do this improperly every time. So we'll just have to see. If I get stung a lot, Okay, do not remove that that piece of board there.
Okay.
Perfect. So this is a lot of trial and error. We have done this once before, and it was easy going. So she's just getting a stapler because we removed the queen. She remains in a cage, though. The cage gets stapled in here, and then the bees eat her out of that cage through the candy stopper. It's such a simple system, and it works so well because the bees, these aren't necessarily the bees that, let me rephrase that. The queen didn't necessarily come from these bees. So these bees are getting used to her. And that allows the time for that to happen, them to accept her. Yeah, exactly. So it's perfect. It's just cool. We're watching the bees. And they hum. You guys might not be able to hear it. But anyway, they make a really, really cool hum. Everything about bees is awesome, except the fact that they die. They're not, a honeybee isn't native to Canada. They struggle in our winters, but that's a whole other topic and not what we're doing today. We are doing the release. So as soon as she gets her face out of the way, she's going to hold this camera while I sacrifice my body.
Okay, sacrifice the body for the viewers.
So what I'm going to do
I think we needed a pry thing last time to get the queen, didn't we?
she will come. So what it is there's a slit here, right here. So I'm just kind of moving her. The only thing is, in order to get her out, I am going to have to release some bees.
So should you release the bees first?
It really doesn't matter. The thing is, I do have to grab the queen first. There's just going to be some bees escape because they're right there. I do wish I was wearing gloves.
So maybe this will just be a video where Dean gets hurt.
So this is it. So this is the queen box here. You don't have to worry. They're not. So they're all attracted to her. So it's really cool. So she's in here and there's a cork right there. So what we do is we remove that cork. She's looking for another one. And then we put a candy cork in there. And that's what they eat through to allow them time to acclimate. Now, the last time I seen one of these, sorry, this is hard because the bees are all over. I don't want to crush them, but it's really light. That cork was out a lot farther. That cork is really in there.
Yes.
So we are going to have to take a break while we get some type of tool to pry that out so that I can put the candy cork, which I do have. So this will go in there and then they'll eat through that to release her. And that is the time it takes for them to accept her as a queen. So it's really neat. And as you can see, they're really calm. They're focused on what they're doing. So not that they wouldn't sting me, but that's not their intention, right? So I don't know. Some people who don't deal with bees a lot probably assume they're a lot more aggressive than they are. They're actually really gentle. The whole season we had bees last time, I was stung once, and that was it. And that was from me handling them like I just did. So, wear gloves, right? The thing about gloves is I really like the dexterity. I need to be able to feel and touch. The gloves, of course, the better the glove, the less you can feel.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what we need to do now is, well, first off, we need to inspect the queen to make sure she's in there and alive.
She's alive.
She's alive. So you see her in there?
Let me see if I can focus in here for you. No, we can't.
Okay, no, that's
the camera can't, because she keeps moving to where the cluster is.
Okay, that's fine. We're going to show you later. So we're going to just take a little break while I get a tool to release her. So we're back again. I got me some safety equipment, some completely non-bee related gloves. And all that does is it allows me to do what I need to do with a little more confidence. Even if they can sting through it, it's the mental part, right?
Did you just get stung?
Yeah, no, I got spooked.
Oh.
So you shouldn't fear bees, but you definitely need to respect them, right? So what I need to do now is I need to pry that cork out of here. And unfortunately, I need to do it with my non-dominant hand because I only brought out one glove. And it is not the glove that, it's not the glove that I should have got my left glove. That way I could hold things. I'm not very dexterous with my left hand. So we're going to do this as best we can. I'm probably going to end up cutting a lot of this because it's just going to be me struggling for the most part. But what I need to do is I have to get this cork out of there.
But you gotta not let the bees in, right?
The bees definitely cannot get in, but way more importantly, the queen cannot get out. And this actually wouldn't be that hard if it wasn't for the fact that it's covered in bees. The thing is, you can't just brush the bees away. The bees want to be with the queen. So I'm just going to back up a little bit just because we just irritated some bees. And really, it's just about reading the room, right? Like when they're mad, you give them space. So I did get the cork out.
Get the other one in. Quick, quick, quick. It's like, no, I'm coming for the ride.
So what I was just doing is, so I got the cork in there now. I was just checking to make sure that the queen was okay and still in there, that she didn't get out in my confusion. So as we can see, she's still in there. She's right there. You guys can't see it, but I can see it. She's in there. The cork's in there. So now what we do is we're going to staple in some manner this cage here so that she's inside and that the bees can then start eating her out.
Whoa.
They didn't like that. But you see, it's that simple. And I don't know if there's a position better than another, but I do know that they'll be able to start eating her out of there now. So that's all there is to it. I will Google if there's an orientation better than another, like if the cork should be up or down or whatever. But that's it for that. So now it's basically installing the bees.
And so, I guess did you talk about what's inside?
Inside a bee, it's probably a lot of like guts and stuff.
I mean,
inside
the
this?
feeder.
Oh, so this feeder is just sugar water. So it's an intense amount of sugar mixed with water that makes a syrup. And then we put pebbles just so they won't drown. And that's because they spent a lot of time in this box and they don't know where pollen is at this point. So it's just, yeah, it just gives them a head start. So yeah, so now all it is the installing part, which is extra fun because basically it's shaking the box of bees into their home. And the
That
only
seems kind of mean.
I know it does. And the only thing that keeps them here is the queen. They're not prisoned. There's a way in and out. We just have to hope that they accept this as their home. The vast majority of the time they do. It's why this works. And it's all because of the queen. It's why this whole queen setup is so important. It is really the heart and soul of the whole process. So I'm going to take this off. And if you want to come close, you can see that the bees are now completely free. So there's nothing now. It's just a box of bees and a giant. Isn't that neat? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to shake them in. It's not very scientific. And if you do this for a first time, like, wear protective equipment. This isn't how you should do this. I will probably be stung. So you go like that. You probably, I don't know if you just saw that.
I heard
a
it.
whole bunch. Just look, they're just falling. So you see this? They're actually just draining themselves right now. You can get it from this angle too. So even without me having to shake, oh, they're just tumbling. So I have to do very little. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's it. It's all that's to it. And then you hope that they accept this as their home. I simply take a break when they become a little too agitated for me to want to be around. No stings. You don't have to get every bee out of that box.
They'll come out, right?
Exactly. You just
Oh,
leave
look at them all coming at the bottom.
Yeah. You just leave the bees close to the queen. They will find her, but you want the most of them out of the box, so you do that with the ship. Just because they don't understand how to get out, so
Yeah.
you make it a little easier.
And that is Dean's bum.
So they will immediately start making comb. That's what they
cool.
do right away.
And we did a previous video about this hive, but did you tell them what kind of hive this is?
This is a top bar hive. So top bar hives are not the standard anymore. They used to be. They're the older type. As you can see, they're bigger. So when you think of a beehive, you probably think of that little white cube.
Mm-hmm.
That's what most hives are like. They have a name. I'll post that in the comments. But anyway, this is the top bars. This is a very different type. This type is generally not as successful. There's a reason people moved on away from it. We picked it because it gives us the best view of the bees.
Because of the window.
It has a built-in window right here, which I'm not going to go to right now, but
Yep.
you can see into the hives through that window. And it just allows for more observation, which we kind of wanted with our first bit of bees, right?
Yeah.
We are actually going to try the other type of hive, and we'll do a comparison video, but one thing at a time. Those bees also get installed differently because my understanding is you get like a chunk of comb. Basically, you get like a chunk of the hive, you put it into your hive, and that's all there is to it. Whereas this is a totally different process.
Yeah, and a little bit more expensive. Like I
Very-
think this the other one you get nukes. I don't know what this is. Also nukes.
This is called a package.
Package, yeah. So a
The
little
price
different.
is almost identical, though.
Oh,
Somebody was asking today, is a $5 difference between a package and a nuke. That's not to say they're equal. I think the nukes are better because they come with food, right? So they have to do everything from scratch.
here, yeah.
And the other ones, they almost come pre-done. You're basically taking a piece of somebody's already established hive and making a hive from that. It's already something. This is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so they got to work really hard.
Yeah. They do, which is why we provide them as much as we can. They're really close to our orchard, which was by design. Of course, our orchard's not established
Now
enough.
the blooms have passed like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure they'll find other things. We got roses and everything too.
So as you can see, they're sticking around.
Do you need to shake more or?
Yeah, I do.
They're
They're
mad.
coming out of the hive, but they're still staying here. And so everything looks good.
So, just a side note.
Yeah.
When we first tried to get, or first ordered bees.
Oh, you have to tell this story, don't you?
Yes, I do.
It's ridiculous.
We went in and we paid for them, and then we were in the car, and this is in all seriousness. Dean is like, how are we gonna get them home? Like, is it like, how do we? is it a handful of bees? Like, what do we do?
Here, take your handful of bees.
And so that now is our joke, which may or may not be funny, but it's kind of funny at the time because he was like not sure how we were going to be transporting them.
Yeah.
Maybe Dean thought they were going to be loose flying in the car.
Well,
they were just going to be like, here's a handful of bees. Whatever you do with it is on you.
I figured they were going to be in a box, but I didn't realize they were going to be so perfectly contained. I figured there would be, you know, the odd bee flying around, and that would be a little, but there's none. Like, that box is sealed tight. I'm sure when they're creating the box at their location, there's, of course, the odd bee, like, hanging around, but that blows off before it gets to us, right? But yeah, so the whole joke is take your handful of bees.
I find that way funnier than it probably is.
I know. The way you told the joke was a little slow and painful.
Yeah.
I died a little inside.
Absolutely. But the beginning of the whole thing, you know, because it's what, 2 years now?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, here's your handful of bees.
Yeah.
So that's where we go now.
It's always a handful of bees.
It's a handful of bees. This is a little bit more than a handful of bees. So Dean's got gloves on. I think Dean should show the queen.
Okay.
Because
I can't show the queen but I can show. So that upper left, that is all around the queen. So it's neat. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for now, and we will definitely be updating you all the time.